The build-up to the 2027 political race has been nothing short of eventful, shaped by defections, coalition talks, and growing questions over whether Nigeria's opposition can realistically convert criticism into political power. A number of perspectives now define the debate. One is whether the opposition can realistically challenge the APC's dominance. Another is whether the opposition can resolve its internal divisions into a united front capable of winning power. Also, the lingering question of whether Nigeria's electoral system truly offers a level playing field for political competition is also on the front burner, amongst other perspectives. This discussion examines whether the opposition is prepared for more than just opposition. But before then, let's take a look at some of the issues shaping the conversation.
For the average Nigerian, 2027 won't be about politics. It will be about survival, the price of food, the cost of transport, whether a salary can last the month. These are the issues, amongst others. So the real question isn't just who wins, it is who can actually make people's lives better in real terms. A new survey by RBN Intelligence offers a snapshot of that mood. Nearly 8 in 10 Nigerians say the country is heading in the wrong direction, with more people holding that view in the southeast and north central. For President Tinubu, the ratings are poor. The government says its reforms need time, that the pain is temporary.
Young people out there should listen to the president and allow the president more time to see to the realization of all the goodies he has for them.
But anger doesn't always become vote. SBM's data shows the opposition only wins big if turnout is high, and Nigeria has a long history of frustration that never reaches the ballot box. Last month's Ekiti election made the point. Barely a third of voters showed up, with the fragmented opposition grappling with one legal battle or another. The question is wide open. Who can carry the opposition? One party making its case is the Action Democratic Party, the ADP. Its chairman, Engineer Yabagi Sani, is pitching the party as a plan B for 2027. He makes a bold claim that the ADP is no longer a peripheral player, but the credible alternative Nigerians have been waiting for. But beyond the rhetoric, one question stands out. Can the ADP and the wider opposition organize itself ahead of the 2027 elections? And can they turn frustration into vote?
Joining us today to share his perspective is the national chairman of the Action Democratic Party, ADP, Engineer Yabagi Sani. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. Well, the ruling party and a number of the critics of the opposition party say the opposition is very good with diagnosing the problems, so when it comes to proffering solutions, they often fall short. What do you say to this criticism?
Well, it's very easy to criticize, but when you are in the midst of the whole thing, then you will better understand the intrigues and then the difficulties that you are confronted with. Well, Nigeria, like you know, we are unfortunately a growing country. We're supposed to be a developed country by now. And one of the reasons why we are not yet described as a developed country is because of what you have just said. That is the politics, the way the politics is structured. Because there's a lot that happens or that impacts the country when your process of recruitment of leadership is not the way it's supposed to be. It's questionable. So when you have the recruitment process questionable, that country continues to be in rigmarole, in a vicious cycle, because you never really, move forward. There's always just motion, but no movement. So, and that's what happened to us. If you look at the electoral act itself, it's completely lopsided, in favor of the party in power, simply because the party in power managed to occupy the majority in the legislative arm of the government,
Right.
and has also managed to obliterate, whatever you want to call independence as far as the three tiers of government is supposed to be, or three arms of government is supposed to be.
Sure.
So all these things, culminated into what you see as opposition not being able to, act out what they are saying. It's not that they don't have plans. In fact, opposition have better plans than even the people in government, like we all know. But you have to be given opportunity. And when you have the law of the land, stacked against you, you have the opposition. I mean, you have the government of the day,
The ruling.
the ruling party in charge of everything, including even the machinery that will deliver you as a winner, if you even win, if they allow you to win an election. Someone that will pronounce you as the winner. It's in the hands of the party in government. So this is why people are thinking that opposition does not have what it takes to move the country forward or to change things. The critical issue that Nigerians must look at is our ground norm. What does it say? What does it say about the opposition? How much latitude, how much space has it given the opposition in terms of even resources? Our resources is in the hands of the party in power. They have unhindered access to the money, and nobody can question them, because if you do, where do you go? Who do you report to? Who is going to question them? Who is going to check them? Nobody. So it's a situation where it's like a hopeless case, that you have as a democracy in Nigeria.
Well, Engineer, would explore some of those things you mentioned later on. But there are those who also say that the current government was also in the opposition before. They came in and the story still remains the same. And what's the guarantee that the current opposition, as it were, quite fragmented as we know it, can deliver the dividends of democracy to Nigerians? So this is not a political situation. There are those who are cynics, Nigerians who are saying, we do not think anything different can come out of this process. What do you say to them?
If you will be comparing apples and oranges. If you talk about the time when APC came to the government and now what they are doing, they have shown themselves to be most heartless human beings that you can ever find. When you talk about the desperation, for power, that is not what happened during.
In what sense do you say they're heartless?
In the sense that during during Jonathan's time, he allowed the party to be registered. They didn't go into the parties to unsettle the parties themselves. They didn't plant people to go and then create problems where there's none, or threaten them that we're going to register you if you don't kowtow to what we want. So that's which is what democracy is all about. But these are the most undemocratic human beings you can find on the planet, of Earth. That they do things with impunity and believe that nothing can happen. And indeed, nothing happens. Because if you try to do anything, where is the law that will guarantee you anything? Or who do you even talk to? Is it the judges that have been cowed? Or is it the police that is appointed by the man that you want to report? Or who? Or is it the INEC that he appoints? So the situation is not, like you said, level playing field is not there for the opposition. And we can't perform magic. Nigerians have to make it possible for this country to move forward. It's not the opposition. The opposition is not in power. We don't have the machinery. We don't have the money. We don't have the powers of the institutions that are supposed to guarantee free, fair, and credible election in this country. Even to form a political party is a tall order. You can't have your party, they don't want you to be at peace at all. They keep bringing up things that do not exist to unsettle the parties. That is not democracy, for God's sake.
Some people argue that if you subscribe to that school of thought, that the ruling party and the president, as it were, is the one responsible for most of the problems that we see in the opposition. Some say perhaps the cracks were already there before and it was easy to exploit. Do we have an opposition that can unite against the ruling party?
Certainly like ADP, Action Democratic Party. Before we get to where we are today, I took it upon myself as the chairman of my party to approach other opposition parties that you guys, you can't just sit like this and watch we must create some kind of synergy, and then begin to dialogue. Because what we are seeing is the danger of one-party state. And this one-party state is not as a result of an organic growth of the parties that become one-party state. No, it's a design. Somebody who has designed that these parties must be killed, and then so that we can now have, freedom to do whatever we want to do with Nigeria. So I went to most of them, and then we sat down with them that there's a need for us to create some kind of leverage, some kind of bridge, so that if your party is for any reason attacked, you can have a fallback position, so that plurality in democracy, it's a given. That's why you call it democracy. If you don't have plurality of parties, how do you call it democracy? When the electorate is not allowed to have a choice, of who governs him, he's locked into one, party that has been terrorizing him, has been made his life, more horrible than it ever was. So, and then he has no choice. So this is what I'm saying, that Nigerians must wake up, that the National Assembly must not be what they are today. That is not the National Assembly that's supposed to exist in this country. It doesn't exist anywhere in the manner it's existing here. To the extent that whatever the president, even in his dream, he dreamed about something, he doesn't have to explain anything to them. He just scribbled on the paper or even called them on the phone and said, please go and pass this bill. And they pass it. Jump, they say, how high do you want us to jump?
Engineer.
That is not what is happening. No, we saw what happened when this National Assembly was about to be inaugurated, by the president. He handpicked the principal officers of the National Assembly. Everybody in this country that cares to know is aware that that's what happened. He put the Senate president there. It's his man. He said, this is the person I want. The Speaker of the House, he said, this is the person I want, and then also the other principal officers. He picked them. So that means you don't have a National Assembly in the manner that Constitution, intended it to be. So how else do you think this system will work when it is, operated upside down?
And it appears Nigerians are waiting on the opposition to organize itself. What do you say to this?
What I say to this is that Nigerians must organize the opposition. The point I'm making is that we are having a constitutional democracy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Meaning that everything is governed by laws and regulations and what have you. So, but these laws are churned out against the opposition. And the opposition has no voice. It has no... What do? We go to the street and start demonstrating? Or what do? So it's Nigerians that will make the system to work. That's what happens every other place that you see it working.
So Engineer, let me get your thoughts. So initially we had the ADC, and it looked as though a lot of people were thinking this would be the third force, as it were. And we saw some splintering from the ADC. And on, the NDC is also embroiled in some legal battles and whatnot. What do you make of that process up until now? Because now Nigerians are not sure where to pitch their tent. The ADP pretty much no challenge with it thus far. You also mentioned that you had conversations with some other political parties in the opposition. Did that go well?
Well, I think to an extent it did, and maybe until perhaps when
or did personal ambitions get in the way of coming for, to present a united front against a common enemy, so to speak?
Because people always get their way, at the end of the day. When it comes to self-determination, there's no place in this world where it has happened that people are denied forever, their freedom. So that's why we are there. That's why, I'm speaking the way I'm speaking. And that's what gives me the confidence that we are going to win. Because it has never happened anywhere in the world where you keep, people keep struggling and they will not be given that freedom. Because the freedom is inalienable freedom. It's something that is inborn. You're just delaying it. You can't continuously, deny people their rights, their human rights, their rights to belong to who they want to belong to as an association, expression of, freedom of expression. You can't bottle those things for long. It will find its way out one way or the other because there's never a perfect crime. There will be a crack somewhere and even this 2027, just watch. Something will give. definitely something will give.
So, engineer, there are those who also say what we're seeing today is about the political class as a whole, that this is the way and manner the Nigerian political class has been known to operate, irregardless of parties. What's your perspective?
No, it has never been like this. It's never been like this. It has never. I've never seen a situation where, except under APC, where a president will come and will not see anything good in somebody that is not from his own region or does not speak his language. For instance, look at the financial sector, which is a very key, which is the currency of every economy that you know. The financial sector is squarely in the hands of the Yorubas. So you wonder, is it the Yoruba language that they speak when they talk about our economy? Because you look from the Minister of Finance to the Governor of Central Bank to the man, everything that has to do with money is in the hands of the Yoruba man. Who does that? So is that what has happened before?
Yeah.
No.
Well, something similar also happened under the President Buhari's administration.
Buhari's under APC too.
Right.
So
you think it's an APC problem? Because
they don't know anything. Because they are all people that I don't think have brains, really. Because they have brains, they will know that this country belongs to all of us. And if you want it to work, you must involve everybody. Because down the line, you are appointing the top, but down the line, it's the Yoruba man, the Hausa man, the Igbo man, the Chekili, the Nubian man, everybody that is running those things. And you up there, when you come to talk to them, they say, yes, we are in it, sir. But the truth is that's why most of the things you see happening that's not working in this country is because we have unwittingly, made the system not work. You disconnected the system from the people who are at the bottom. So therefore, they don't see anything. They can't identify with anything there. When you talk, this is their government. Let them do whatever they want. Am I a Yoruba man? So I don't know anything about what they're talking about. That is not the way a nation like this should be run. So that's why we're asking people to look at ADP. If we come on board, we know we are experienced in a way. We are knowledgeable. We have the education. We are exposed. We have traveled wide. We have seen how things are done in other places, that systems are allowed to work. You don't come and say because I'm a Yoruba man or Hausa man, it's just the Hausa man who speaks Hausa that knows it all. How? How does it translate?
So you've criticized President Tinubu's economic reforms. What would you do
Where are
differently?
those reforms? Economic reform or some draconian policies that are brought? So
tell us your perspectives. What are the things that you have against the current economic reforms that we've had? Removal of subsidy, unification of the foreign exchange market, amongst others.
Well, have you ever seen a country where a president comes to power and the very first day that the man is sworn in, he announced such far-reaching economic policies, and without having to examine what has happened and what the implications are going to be and how they are going to tackle the implications. So that's why it is difficult for them now to get back, to get the angle of the...
what could they have done differently?
No, what every sensible government does is that you first of all study the situation. Who are you competing against? And who says, that you cannot be allowed to have at least 1 or 2 months or 3 months to sit down with whoever is going to be your cabinet, to say, okay, you guys, please go and give me the implications of these things. How do we do it in such a way that our people will not be in a very disadvantaged position like they are today? Like the killings are heightened, the economic retrogression is heightened, the poverty is heightened, pains are heightened, families are being disorganized. Tell me who is happy in this country apart from people who are in government? Who? In Nigeria. Tell me a Nigerian that is happy with what is happening. Is that what a government is supposed to be? No. The intention of government, as even spelled out in our constitution, is that you must guarantee welfare and security of property, life and property. That is not happening under this government. What is happening is the opposite. So how do you call yourself a government? Are you not even ashamed of yourself?
But the government
have millions, thousands, and what have you been killed?
So the current government says they're building the foundations for a long-term...
For dead bodies?
Right.
For dead bodies? So foundation for dead bodies? You have to be alive to enjoy whatever they're saying. But look at the way people are being killed. Look at the way economy.
No. I mean, speaking about the economy, they say we'll reap the gains later on. That this is the painful thing we have to go through, the pain we have to endure.
Where are they not painful things themselves too? Huh? Where are you telling me to not do the way you do, but I should do the way you say? What kind of
So you don't think the current government has tightened this belt enough? That's what you're saying?
Yeah, they have not tightened the belt enough, and with all the corruptions and the things happening. You award contracts without even going through the due process, and you are not awarding contracts to somebody who really has the knowledge, who you are not connected with. You are awarding contracts to yourself directly, not even indirectly. You come and took over our oil and gas sector and then converted it to your own company that you have direction. You are connected with your cousin or your name is there, running the company, and they are the ones taking over everything.
Engineer.
And is that how to run the government?
Engineer, what do you make of the current tax policy?
The tax policy, you see, you don't tax poverty now, isn't it? Unless you aim to kill the people, or you have your own agenda somehow. That's an agenda that maybe they haven't told us yet, but you can see it unfolding.
No, but they say certain concessions have been made for low income families.
Like what? Like if you earn up to what? You don't pay tax or something like that.
You don't think that's enough?
It's not enough because, okay, take the value of money. They say how much? 800,000 or what? Or is it 1 million? Today, isn't it?
Right.
What is 1 million before they came to power? So there you have to have some empathy, as a leader of a country. You have to have some empathy. Because this Nigeria will not stop when you are no longer there. It will continue, isn't it? And what you do is what will be there that people will talk about you. So please, for God's sake, take Nigeria as one constituency, not only Yoruba land that you have to patronize, because it's not the Yoruba land that gave you the presidency. The votes that you claimed that you won came from all over Nigeria, not from only one region of the country. So they deserve to be also given whatever attention you are giving.
And we're pressed for time, but in the past you've advocated for stronger social intervention programs. In what manner should that be rolled out?
Social intervention programs are something that is very, very fundamental if you really want to have an economy that will.
But it hasn't worked in Nigeria, has it?
It hasn't worked because, one, corruption, nepotism, isn't it? People don't like we don't like each other, simply because your name is Deji. That's enough for me to hate you. How can you ever get...
The poor database is also a challenge, isn't it?
You can't get database if you are corrupt. You ask somebody to go look at, even when they run elections, they count 1, 2, 10, 11, 100. What kind of data is that? In the recruitment process of your leaders, you corrupt even the process. You're talking about data. And that is data they're going to use to now say it's this lady that won the election, or you are the one that won the election. A corrupt, data. There's no more data that is more important than that in the process itself, because that's what determines how your economy is going to be, how your country is going to progress in the first instance.
Let me put you on the spot. Is there any aspect of President Tinubu's reforms that you think is working?
No, you see, intentions are there to make it work, isn't it? But the practice, the implementation, unfortunately, some other sentiments come in, and make a nonsense of what they want to do. That is the problem. I'm not saying that they don't have beautiful ideas, but the beautiful ideas. So
you say the challenge is at the implementation stage.
Implementation. If you don't come with the mind of one country, isn't it, that deserve whatever a good for the agenda, isn't it? So if you don't apply that principle, no matter how beautiful your programs may be, they will come to naught. Because they'll be frustrated. I mean, Tinubu is supposed to be the best president that we should have in this country. Because why? He has been in the trenches as far as fighting for democracy is concerned, isn't it, from what we see? Yeah, he has his hands in all businesses, so he must be a good manager in that respect, isn't it? You know, one of his CVs that he was also in ExxonMobil or Mobil, you know, as the financial controller or something like that. So somebody who has gone through that kind of track record should be able to lead a country to El Dorado.
I mean, if you had time with him, what would you be advising him on? Immediate actions that can deliver quick results. Just one of it.
Fight corruption headlong in the oil and gas sector. Why? Because it represents the dominant sector of the economy. Everything that happens there has a spillover effect on no other sector of the economy. If it's the money you need to run other economies from the oil and gas sector, you get it, both domestic and international. You know, don't think that you can ignore or pretend that nothing is happening there when we know something is happening. You can't be spending billions of dollars without any results, and you keep on like that. You don't want to call anybody to order. Eh? So that's what I will tell him. That for once, look at this sector. You can't be borrowing when you have billions being stolen, you know, under your nose. And you are going to now borrow billions that later will make you to become a slave of another country or colony.
I mean, so let's talk about your party, the ADP. It recorded a quite small share of votes in the last election cycle. What do you make of its current national relevance? Has anything changed since that time for Nigerians to believe that your party can in fact stand against the APC?
So much has changed because Nigerians have seen through the lies that APC have been telling them. That it's about time that we now looked the other direction. We are not robots. You know, Nigerians are not robots. They have brains. They can think. And that's why you have challenges coming, you know, now. And that is when parties like Action Democratic Party, you know, we are going to sprinkle surprises and give this country the leadership it deserves.
Does it have the needed national spread?
Yeah.
Structure, as we say.
We have structures all over the place. We have. And like I told you, it's just that we are being incumbent, you know, incumbent rather, in the sense of laws are not made to allow you to, you know, operate in the manner that you're supposed to operate.
You seem to have a lot of confidence in the Nigerian electorate. They're very easily swayed by, you know, money, aren't they?
Oh, because...
And other sentiments.
No, because they're pauperized deliberately. People in government pauperize them so that they can just be taken for, you know, like what you were saying, for peanuts.
So what would be your message to Nigerians who seem to have lost hope in the process entirely? And,
no, they shouldn't. They shouldn't lose hope.
You know, ahead of the elections, what would you say to them?
No, they shouldn't lose hope. Like I said, you know, people always get their way, you know, if you don't give up. We will. We are going to win. We are going to overcome all these shenanigans, all these, you know, things that APC government, you know, is doing. Nigeria, I'm definitely sure, and you will say, yes, I said it here. APC will soon become history. Take it from me.
What gives you that confidence?
Wait till you see. Things will soon, you know, evolve that will make that happen.
Well, it remains to be seen, Engineer Yabagi Sani. Thanks for your time. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you, David.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's our show for today. Thanks for watching. Join us again next week. Bye for now.